Good morning, everybody. It's Christa Madrid, your realtor at Colorado Home Realty. We've got Brad Lyons with Independent Financial and our special guest, Tim Andrews with American Family Insurance. Welcome, Tim, our first guest ever.
Thank you, guys. I'm happy to be here. Excited.
Well, Brad, thank you for inviting Tim with us. This is awesome. So, Tim,
Yeah, Tim's been a great helper to me over the last few years, and just glad to have him on the show with us.
So basically, he is helping you with not only your personal insurance, but he's helping you with your business insurance by providing these quotes for your refinances and once in a while for your buyers who were ill-prepared to know that they'd need to shop for insurance, right?
Yeah, what? I need that? Oh my gosh.
What?
That never happens.
My realtor never
happens.
said that. My agent never said that. What?
Yeah, Tim's always quick to jump into action. So very much appreciate him and his staff and their professionalism. And, the quotes are always, they're tight and they look good and they're well priced. And, you can't ask for too much more than that.
Sweet. I love that. So how long have you two been working together?
Oh, Tim, take us
It's been
back.
a while. Actually, well, I have to say thank you guys for having me this morning. I've seen what you guys have been doing on your videos so far. I just think it's great, what you're presenting and this format, and I think it's what people need to see right now. So thank you guys for that.
Of course. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, and I guess, Brad, it started BNI. We were in a BNI networking group. Gosh, it must have been 5 years ago at this point.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And we just kind of hit it off. And, when you find a like-minded business professional, it's so easy to work with that person, especially you have similar clients and similar ideals in the way that you do business. And so we just kind of hit it off and it's been great.
For sure.
Yeah.
Isn't it true there's somebody for everybody? Not everybody's our cup of tea. We're not their cup of tea all the time, but when we hit it off, it's an amazing thing. It's like a partnership for a long time, if not for life.
Yeah, and I think, go ahead, Brad.
I was just saying, we're trying to always create that loyalty situation with our clients, and it's great to have loyalty amongst ourselves too, right?
Well, they see right through us, and if they're seeing that there is no loyalty, who's going to want to do business with us, right?
Remember that.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes I wouldn't say it's challenging, but it's nice to find somebody who is, cut from the same cloth and treats their clients in the same way and appreciates value, because that's what we're all about. And
absolutely.
The more people that you have in your corner during a transaction, you might attest to this, Christa, is the easier it is, the smoother it is. If you have the right home inspector, if you have the right insurance agent, if you have the right mortgage professional, then it's just going to be that much of a better experience for your clients.
Well, yes, all the way around, even when a hiccup arises, because once in a while they do, we do our best to ensure that they don't. But just having everybody in the same corner, just like you said, even makes those hiccups a little bit smoother, road bumps. So, Tim, where's your office?
So I'm in Broomfield off 120th and Main.
Okay.
We've been in the Broomfield area now, for about 4 or 5 years. And it's just a great area, everything up toward Boulder, Boulder Turnpike is just growing so rapidly, and house values and house prices are awesome. And so it's a great place to be, a lot happening.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then tell us, we don't really have to drive up to your office to work with you. You're just a phone call and an email away.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the new normal, right? And
right.
So, fortunately, I kind of had it set up like that before, and I think that's important today. You kind of have to adapt to the way that people want to do business, whether that's face-to-face with a handshake, or whether that's over the phone or even over email. I mean, this is the type of world that we live in. And so really you can go from point A to B all the way down the line and complete the entire transaction over the phone when it comes to homeowners insurance. And it makes it that much easier for the long laundry list of things that they have to get done in a home purchase. It just makes it that much easier and quicker in the process.
So, with everybody being home, there's been a lot of home improvement projects going on. what kind of projects do you recommend the homeowner check with you on, even if you're not their agent, their insurance agent? What should they be checking with you or their insurance agent on before they tackle those projects?
That's a really good question. That's not one that a lot of people usually think about. If you're putting any kind of money into your house, then it's definitely something that you should have a conversation with your agent about. You know, you see, especially things like a basement, you know, that's going to be a big financial project. You're adding value to your house, but you're also adding replacement costs to your house. So that's huge. You know, if you're going to finish more area that's unfinished, make sure that you have that conversation about also increasing your coverage to make sure that it's in line with the replacement cost of your house. You know, that's the primary coverage on an insurance policy is, God forbid, my house burns down. I need the right coverage to make sure that I can rebuild. And it's not even always about that total loss scenario, but if you have a fire in your house, if you have something catastrophic that happens, you want to make sure you have enough coverage and the right amount of coverage to be able to make those renovations and rebuilds. And I see it all the time, and it's a shame. You know, you have somebody go and spend $30,000 on a basement and forget to mention it and forget to up their coverage. And you want to make sure, obviously, in the price conscious environment that we're in, and it's important, but you want to make sure you have a competitive premium, but also the right coverage. And that's what we're all about, is making sure that our clients are covered correctly for a fair price.
Awesome. What about improvements such as lighting, adding a man shed to the backyard? You know, let's say nothing structural is changing, but we're doing other things. Is there anything like updating the electrical? Maybe it hasn't been updated for 30 years. It's time. What can you tell us about that?
That's a good thing to know, just in terms of making sure that you have those details accurate on your homeowner's policy. You know, if you update the wiring and have some safety features in your home, then make sure you have that conversation with your agent as well. You know, any of those more minor structural things or non-structural things like lighting, or if you're going to, you know, replace some fixtures, paint, you know, any of those kind of minor things, it's not, you know, completely necessary to have that conversation. But any detached structures, you know, you know, if you're gonna put a man shed in your backyard, then make sure you have that conversation, you know, with your agent, because that's a different coverage that you want to make sure that you call out to make sure that it's taken care of.
Beautiful. Yeah. So as an agent, as a realtor, I'm one of the people that go over all the deadlines with my clients, especially on the buy side. Here are all your opportunities to get out of the contract. The goal is not to get out, but here are all your opportunities. And I do the same thing with the sellers. Here are all their opportunities, and here are your few opportunities.
Yep.
Now, when it comes to insurance, what would you need from me? How do you need me to equip my buyer to shop for insurance? What makes your job easier?
It's a great question. You know, usually it's just general information about the home. You don't need to go too crazy into it. And you know,
MLS
this is
sheet maybe?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, you know, the big ones are square footage of the total house. Is the basement finished or unfinished? What type of roof that you have? I'd say probably the biggest thing when it comes to homeowners insurance is your roof.
Okay.
You know, we live in the state of Colorado. We get more hail damage than just about anywhere else in the nation. So you got to make sure that you have a up-to-date roof. You got to make sure that it's been replaced somewhat recently, and if it hasn't been, that it's in good condition. You know, you don't want to go into a transaction with a roof that has hail damage, because then that's going to make both of your jobs much more difficult, with having to make sure that the loan is going to be funded, having to make sure that the buyers and sellers are happy, and you know, maybe you need to replace that roof as part of the transaction, which is just going to prolong things. So it's good for, you know, your buyers to know exactly when that roof was last replaced and what type of material. You know, is it asphalt, shingles? Maybe it's an impact resistant roof. You know, that gives you a fantastic discount on your homeowner's insurance. So those types of things are important. You know, I'd say the roof being the big one. Are there any detached structures? You know, do you have a detached garage or a detached shed? And then the last one, is in regards to your sewer system. We see claims like this happen all the time. Do you have a sump pump in your home? Did you do a sewer scope? Those types of coverages are available in a homeowner's insurance policy, both the backup of the sewer or an overflow of the sump pump, and also replacement of the sewer line. American Family just came out with a new coverage available to everyone on their homeowners policies. And one of the few companies that do this, where we provide replacement for the service line, for the sewer line, from the city to your home, which is huge because that used to be something that was excluded.
No kidding.
Wow. I didn't know that. It's just, how long ago was that? Because I've been in the business for 5 years, and yeah, how long?
Within the last year.
Really?
Within
Okay.
the last year, yeah, it was something that, unfortunately, a lot of homeowners were having that issue where, and this with your inspections that you might do, Christa, you see a crack or you see something that might be wrong with that sewer scope, and you never know, when those are going to eventually fail, when it's going to back up, and when you need to replace it. And on average, about a $10,000 replacement right there.
Oh yeah. Well, and once in a while we can get somebody to replace those and get paid and agree to be paid at closing, because unfortunately not all sellers are equipped with cash. The money, their wealth is in the home. It depends on the sale.
Right.
So there are solutions for things like that, not just the sewer, but the roof for those heavy items.
Yep.
Definitely we can get those there. We can get around those and get the vendors paid at closing without creating a lien on the property. So
Right.
one of the other things I tell both buyers and the sellers, and we usually push on the seller to get this done, is on these properties, if there are any shrubbery, trees, anything touching the home, it's definitely not good for the home. I've seen the kinds of damage that can do. Is that something that you guys are looking for? Do you send your adjusters out to have a look at the home prior to the closing or just shortly after the closing to determine if corrective action needs to be taken care of?
Yeah, great question. It usually occurs after we actually find coverage. We'll send out one of our representatives to just take a look at the property, just do a scope of everything. And, it's not you don't want to view it as a, hey, we got you, here's what you need to do. Here's all the home renovations you need to do. But it's protecting the insurance company and it's protecting you.
Absolutely.
If you have a big tree branch that's overhanging your home, well, that could be a potential hazard. That could be a potential claim. Nobody wants a homeowner's insurance claim, including the insurance company. And so
right.
it's a way to go out and say, okay, let's just, maybe recommend a few of these items to make sure that your home is taken care of and safe. Usually they come back just fine. Every now and then we'll just make recommendations, not necessarily to say this is required by any means, but to say, here's what we would recommend to make sure that your home is up to par and make sure that everything is safe here moving forward, and that we aren't in a situation where, we have a potential claim down the road. Right.
Brad, what do you guys, what do you ask these guys for when you're reaching out to them? What are the lender requirements? Because wouldn't this protect the loan as well?
Yeah, most definitely. You want to make sure that not only are you having insurance in your house to be replaced, but if you have a total loss, that your loan's going to be paid off too, right? So important to make sure that you have those parameters set. We want to make sure that the premium is fair so that it's not affecting the debt to income ratio too much, especially in tight debt to income ratio situations. We want to make sure that the deductible is not absolutely, massive. If you get a $5,000 deductible to file a claim, then that might become a dangerous situation for someone. So those are the types of things we're looking at. We're looking at the replacement value versus the actual cost, things like that. You got to cover all those parameters to be well protected in the loan and be well protected for the homeowner. So it's definitely a balancing act. And the thing that I don't think people realize is that you can go into a transaction and have your coverage set at a certain place, and then down the line you can still have that evaluation with your insurance agent. It's something that can be a moving target. Even if you're escrowing for taxes and insurance, you can make adjustments to your insurance. You just need to make sure that you understand what's coming with regards to if your premium changes. You might need to do a kind of a bump up in the amount of escrow setups that you do with your current servicer if you make a change after closing.
Now, is this something you remind folks of when they come in for a refinance because they're going to make improvements to the home? Do you remind them that they need to talk to their insurance company?
Yeah, definitely. If they're going to be adding, a bunch of home improvements, I mean, if they're taking cash out for debt consolidation, you just want to make sure that they have enough coverage on the house to cover the loan and that kind of thing. But definitely, if they're going to be doing the renovations or, moving electrical or moving water or anything like that, it's important to have the insurance agent involved so they can help them set their parameters of coverage as well, for sure.
This is where, Brad, I have to commend him because I've used him for several of my personal, refinances or purchases on loans. And he takes it one step further with his knowledge about just the industry. I mean, how long have you been doing business now, Brad?
Like 87 years, I think. Can you see the gray?
Since the beginning of time.
Don't do that. I've got the gray going on too. Don't do that.
Yeah. No, thanks, Tim. I mean, I've been a mortgage originator since 2010, and I've been in lending since 1998. So very long time. Been looking at loans and insurance and appraisals and sales and all that kind of good stuff. So I've seen a few things.
Well, it's easy to look at an insurance policy and to say, in just the dealings that I've had with Brad, obviously over the years, to say, well, that's not the right premium. Well, that's easy to say, but what are those factors? What are those underlying factors?
Right.
You bring up deductible, you bring up coverage. Sometimes you don't hear those things from a mortgage company. And that's so important. You don't want the cheapest policy that's going to fit into the loan because it's not the right thing to do for your customer.
Yep.
You want to make sure that it is the right premium, but it's the right coverage. The last thing you'd want is to recommend an insurance company or an insurance agent have their coverage be completely wrong when they need it most. Well, that might fall back on your shoulders on that recommendation if you're not really recommending somebody who is, again, cut from the same cloth and has those values that they want to provide to their clients.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, I love it. Thank you so much for letting us pick your brain in the mortgage and real estate world involving insurance. And Tim, we're going to go ahead and use your card as the thumbnail for this. So that way everybody who sees this episode knows how to reach you. But throw your phone number out there real quick for those who are listening and who are very good about storing that in their brain.
Yeah. And I'll just say, if anyone out there feels like their agent isn't working for them during these times, it's obviously challenging, financial hardships and loss of jobs and what have you. And we're here to help, is the main thing here. And if your agent isn't talking to you about what they can do to help you during this time, whether it's changing coverage, whether it's looking at discounts, making sure that you can afford what's in place. You obviously want to keep your coverage at all costs, as much as you can. But if you feel like your agent isn't working for you during this time, then give us a call. Our office number is 303-209-2297, or you can always reach me email tandrews@amfam.com.
Awesome. And would this be a good time to review your insurance policy? Because a lot of people, I'm guilty of it, don't really know what's on their insurance policy. Especially the spouse who's not taking care of the financials. Again, I'm guilty of things like that, but wouldn't this be a great time to review that?
Absolutely. I mean, there's always, you never know what discounts that you might be missing until you really take a look at it. There's always things that you can sign up for. For instance, the drive tracking is a big one, right? You can download an app and it'll track your driving and assess how safe you're driving. That's a voluntary program, but if you're willing to do it, you can see some serious savings. So those types of things are out there that you should be having a conversation about with your agent, especially now. Have that conversation about coverage, have that conversation about how much you're paying, and make sure that things are in line, because who knows, especially with how many people are home right now, There could be some more homeowners claims coming up here. Furnaces are running more. Air conditioning units are
starting to turn on.
Yeah. And so,
Sprinkler systems are turning on.
Exactly. Make sure you have the right coverage right now, more than ever, for sure.
Well, beautiful. Well, we appreciate you being our guest today. We're hoping that more people will reach out to you with any questions or lingering thoughts that they may have been storing in the back of their mind. And thank you for joining us. We really appreciate your time, and we value your information.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you for having me. This is great.
Brad, do you have anything else?
I think that's a great show. I think that's a great bunch of information. Tim, appreciate your help as always. And Christa, you too. You guys are both awesome people to work with. I love you as pros.
Well, we love you.
Likewise.
Definitely. All right, everybody. Well, that is our 15 minutes of fame. We went a little bit over, but the information was well worth it. Look in the show notes for our information on how to reach all three of us, and also for our virtual tours over the weekend. Enjoy your weekend and take care.
Okay.